What's going on, Bulls Nation? Peck here. We got a live CHGO Bulls pregame right around the corner. The West Coast trip concludes tonight. Bulls taking on the Warriors for the first time this season amidst a lot of talk about Vooch and the Warriors. That's coming up next. To make you mad. What's going on, Bulls Nation? Peck here. We got a live CHGO Bulls. Welcome in. Coming to you live from our studios here in West Loop, downtown Chicago. Bulls_Peck. That's Big Dave. Bow. BWL Sports. Will the Goat Gottlieb. Perfectly coiffed. Will_Gottlieb. Queen of the controls, the one and only Katie Duffy. What up, Kate? Hey.
Hi.
Woo! Who's ready for the conclusion of the West Coast trip?
I am.
Late night hoops. Let's go.
I'm getting into a rhythm with it. I like it.
I like it.
I felt like a vampire.
I prefer
all week.
earlier, but I do like it.
I'm a late night guy, man, so I like it.
You're a night owl?
I'm a night owl.
What's your normal sleep cycle?
And an early riser.
What's your if you were on a desert island by yourself and you could go to sleep at any time, wake up at any time, what would it be?
If I could go to sleep at any time, wake up at any time.
Like, what's your natural sleep?
If I could choose it, probably like 5 a.m. and wake up at like 10.
That's like exactly what I thought you would say.
We're like 10 or 11 or something.
Because ever since we were in Paris, I got a feeling that you were just different. And you are. Big Dave, one of one.
This is true. What's up, Chris, Julie, Kimberly, Jeff, everybody hanging out in the comments. Flip side, Jeff Crook taking a look at our thumbnail tagline saying, "Stay in the Bay." What do you say? He just may.
Eat some hay?
In reference to Nikola Vucevic. The Bulls in the Bay taking on the Warriors tonight. We will get to lineups and all that. We do have an injury report update on Kobe White. Good news is Ayo is back in action tonight, so that's good to hear.
That is.
But obviously the headline coming into this matchup between these two teams, the first time they've met this season, they play again in early February. Mm-hmm. This Vooch trade talk is getting more and more real, it seems, by the day.
Let's
because
go.
More and more people around the NBA and in various NBA circles are talking about it and reporting about it.
Mm-hmm.
And the Warriors are getting closer to a trade deadline and maybe deeper and deeper into what you might call desperation mode.
Yes.
At 21-22, just past their halfway point of the season, they are currently on the outside looking in at the Western Conference play-in standings. A lot of that can add up to them making a move out of desperation.
Listen,
Dave likes it.
Because this is not the East. Under 500 will not get you into the play-in or the playoffs. It's not the East, man. You got to win when you're out West. This is the East, they'll be fine. Well, they might be a 6 seed. Who knows? But out West, people are trying to win, and then there's other teams nipping at your heels, just biting, trying to get up in there, man. The Wembanyama's of the world. You know, Chris Paul hates everybody.
Oh, yeah.
So he don't care nothing about you. Do you want to win? Like Caleb Williams asked. Do you want to win? That's all we want to know. So of course, we're rooting for losses. I'm curious how you feel about it tonight because it's, two sides here. If the Bulls win and Vooch plays great, I could move him out of here. But if the Bulls, I'm sure you still want that L if you can get the L. What side do you want to be on?
Vooch can look really good, and the Bulls can still take an L.
That's true. It can happen. It can happen. Best of both worlds.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm rolling with you on that.
I'm rooting for Vooch to put up 40 plus.
Yeah. 40 and 15.
The Bulls lose a tight one, and it is in no way Vooch's fault.
I'm with you. All right, let's do this. Yeah. How you feeling, Goat?
I mean, I always just enjoy watching the Warriors. I was around that team for 3 years, and it's always good to see them. I think the narratives around what's happening with them right now is really interesting because, I mean, they're definitely like past their prime as a group, right? Like Clay's already moved on.
Yeah.
Steph's 36, about to turn 37. Draymond has lost a step for sure. He's still very good. And so is Steph. But like the way that they are whimpering out is just like,
ooh, good word.
It's unfortunate because this is an all-time historic duo and team, right? I mean, this is one of the great dynasties of
ever
all time in sports. And I think their fans right now are just kind of like losing their mind for a lot of the same reason that Bulls fans are losing their minds because of the inactivity and just the indecision and unwillingness by their front office to make a move that will vault them not only into contention. I don't think anybody around there really feels like they're one move away from like being real contenders, but like, can they do something that gets them into the playoffs? And I think clearly a talented group that started 12-3 this year and is, 19 and 19?
9 and 19 since a 12-3 start.
Oh my gosh.
And you just don't want to see great players go out that way. I think there is value and integrity for them in riding it out with this franchise and not going ring chasing elsewhere. Like that I think means something, right? It's like the Tim Duncan approach, the Kobe approach of really riding it out with that organization. But at the same point, like that organization has to do right by their stars.
Yeah.
And I think they are internally, the Warriors, weighing that of what can we do here that would not be, a Dennis Schroeder type move that's really not going to move the needle, but also something that's not going to mortgage our future. And I think that's where Vooch has just become such an obvious fit there, where he helps them spread the floor, he can rebound, he can help elevate them to just having a floor of being a playoff team and can make the players on their team better by the spacing that he provides, the playmaking, his fit into the offense. I think it's a seamless fit. I think they should do it, and it's just a matter of what the cost is. And as Anthony Slater of The Athletic wrote today, he's great, one of the best in the game, beat writers covering the Warriors, just talked about how the Bulls' asking price is still really steep, and usually 72 hours leading up to the deadline, that's when things really start to heat up, and we'll see if they come up and the Bulls go down, or the Bulls get them to come all the way up, or the Bulls say, you know what, screw it, let's just get rid of this guy. So very, very entertaining stuff here, but obviously these two teams, when you think about Caruso and the push that the Warriors made for him, conversations about Zach LaVine in the past, like it does feel like these two teams are kind of destined to make a move together, and hopefully it's a good one for both sides.
Yeah, we're tired of all the flirting. You know what I mean? Just, let's get to it. All right?
Let's get on the dance floor.
Quick question for you, Go. What is the wrong move that the Warriors could make on this? Just the complete wrong move in your opinion?
In terms of Vooch or in terms of...
Yeah, in terms of Vooch or just in free agency, even if they don't get Vooch, like what is the wrong move you feel like
Brandon Ingram, Zach LaVine, I actually think Zach would be great there, but like, are they going to give up? They don't really have the salaries to match that without the Chris Paul contract, which they let expire, and without basically including either Draymond or Wiggins. It's very difficult for them to get up to Zach's number. I think Zach really helps them, and Marcus Thompson, also The Athletic, also covers the Warriors, did a really great story on the Warriors front office and like their indecision and kind of letting this group slide through the lens of should they take a look at Zach LaVine. So he wrote a really great thing about that. I would highly recommend, but I don't think that like they can do a DeJounte Murray type of deal for a guy like Zach LaVine. And when I say that, I mean fringe all-star caliber player like Zach, who's obviously very good, but he's not like the best player on a championship team. And are you giving up 3 unprotected picks for that? I think that would be a mistake. But could you get him for 1 pick, or could you get him for 2 picks? Or could you go out and get multiple guys? But I think all of these teams right now, not just the Warriors, but like the Lakers, I don't want to say like the Bucks or the Suns, because those second apron teams have it a little bit more difficult. But like so many teams right now are just paralyzed by this fear of the second apron, and also this fear of giving up too many picks to where you've mortgaged your future and you're still not good enough now. And I think that teams can get caught waiting for Giannis to come around when that may never happen. And then you're just left waiting for a couple years, wasting away. And that's what I don't want to see happen with the Warriors, because I think Steph and Draymond deserve better than that. I think they should go out and make incremental improvements and figure out the future in the future. If you have franchise legends like that who are still capable of playing at a high level and winning a playoff series, I think you got to go for it. It's different, obviously, with the Bulls, who are like on the fringe of the play-in. But to me, like going out and getting a former All-Star for a protected first or 2 seconds, like they should be doing stuff like that.
Gotcha.
Shout out to everybody hanging out with us late night on a Thursday for Bulls West Coast Hoops. Hit the like button if you're hanging out with us on YouTube. Also, shout out to some people sharing their strategies for staying up for late night hoops. Maddie Legend said, got my Red Bull tonight, ready for the ride.
Okay.
Ball for Life, Shy Bulls said, got my Mike and Ike's and Starry to keep me up late for this one.
Not Starry.
I don't know if I've tried Starry.
That's a lot.
But I am, every once in a while, you know I'm not a big sweets guy, but one of my candy weaknesses every once in a while is a delicious bag of Mike and Ike's.
Interesting.
Ooh.
Just regular Mike and Ike's, like not.
So they have this new one called Mega Mix, and it's like 10 flavors.
Yes.
Oh my God, it is incredible.
Yes,
nothing wrong with the old, like the gold standard of like the green bag of Mike and Ike's. You know, like the classic. I think it's like 5 flavors. But that Mega Mix bag, man,
changes lives.
You get lost in there.
I did.
Julie said she's making daiquiris, so I think we're all watching the next game at Julie's house.
Julie's making daiquiris?
Julie's
making daiquiris?
I also saw, I think it was our guy Flipside said the new drink that he's come up with is a Zachary a daiquiri.
Hey,
as opposed to Zachary
let's go, sir.
I give you some clap.
Shout out to you.
When
you sell that, I'm gonna need a piece since I created that. Shout out to you,
So, but talking about what this Warriors team needs and what their best next step could be if they're gonna try and get active to get themselves back in the playoff mix down the stretch this season. One of the other things that has been, I think increasing the amount of talk of Vooch Warriors specifically. The Warriors are a little shorthanded right now, particularly in that front court, and the front court pieces they do have on this roster. None of them are really floor spacers. So Kuminga remains out tonight. He's still nursing a bad ankle, but he's never been a reliable floor spacer. He's never taken more than a couple threes a game and not shot them particularly well. Kevon Looney, not a floor spacer at all.
No.
Trace Jackson Davis, who is in their starting lineup in the front court tonight, not a floor spacer.
No.
Kyle Anderson, Mr. Slow, not a floor spacer.
Slow-mo.
Those are all of their guys that have size, and not a single one of them can knock down a three on a reliable basis.
Yeah.
So, with all of these injuries they've been dealing with recently, their second-round pick from the 2024 draft class, their rookie, Quinten Post, has gotten some legitimate tick in their last 2 games for the first time this season. Before their previous 2 games, in their first 41, a.k.a. the first half of the Warriors season, he played a combined 15 minutes. In the last 2 games, he played 13 and a half and then 14 and a half.
Okay.
And Steph Curry and Steve Kerr have been talking after these games about their rook, who is big and who can space the floor. So first, let's look at this one, and great work, shout out, as always, to our buddy Stephen No, Sporting News, because he took a piece of what Steph Curry said post-game and paired it up with some of this Warriors action that they're talking about with their rookie Quinton Post. Katie, if you would.
But that guy with the ball, Curry will probably play the first 3 minutes, 3-4 minutes. These are important minutes because they'll pull him. I don't think he
sent a double or pulled over, and I was able to find him on the perimeter and knock down some big shots. So you have a counter to aggressive defenses. They want to try to take the ball out of my hands.
Post stretching the floor and successfully so with the 3 ball.
Looks pretty good, right?
Yeah.
Shout out also to Anthony Slater, who had that original video of Steph post-game. There is some more of that was said. You want to play that other clip of Steph talking post-game now, Katie, if you would.
Whether it's him or, outside the organization, how much do you feel like you need in 2025, more minutes with a stretch big on the floor, you personally?
Just the way the league is going right now, you having space, having, as many shooters as possible at whatever position, the 5 definitely it helps. So I think, I don't know how many minutes we played in the first half, but it's just you have a counter to aggressive defenses. They want to try to take the ball out of my hands. It should help Dennis a little bit too in pick and roll type situations where you got to make the defense decide are they going to pull in or they're going to stay at home and we can try to get downhill a little bit more and get into the paint and create advantages off of his presence or a shooter's presence at the 5. So it definitely helps.
Gotta love hearing Steph Curry say all of that. And some of the other comments that we didn't show there in that same talk about this rook, Quinton Post, getting minutes. Steph pointed out a couple of things. These last couple of games are the first time we have actually played together on the floor, ever, including, we didn't even play together in training camp. This is it. And so we had a couple of miscommunications in these games.
Right.
But he said, we'll continue to build the chemistry, I'm sure. And he was like encouraging to the young man,
Sure,
his teammate. But he also made a point to acknowledge that, some of these G League guys, some of these young guys, they get a little wide-eyed when you come up onto those real NBA floors and you're in those moments. So does Steph Curry really want to trust that player who's big and can space the floor?
He does not.
In some win-or-go-home playing games?
I don't know you.
In a playoff run?
Yeah.
I don't know. It certainly seemed like some subtext kind of commentary to me. But wait, there's more.
Let's go.
Because here is Bulls legend / current Golden State Warriors head coach Steve Kerr talking about the same business and their rookie who's big and can shoot.
Lean more offense. I mean, is this what you're trying to do in the foreseeable future here, is to kind of try to find better offensive lineups?
Yeah, but it changes every night. But yeah, we're we were planning on playing Quinten Post regardless of Loon's illness.
Yeah.
You saw we got him out there in the first half. Playing with a space big is it's a luxury, and it's something that gives us a different look. And Quinten's a really good player. You can see it. He's tough. He knows how to play. It was a great experience for him tonight, and I'm really, really excited about his growth and his development, and it's fun to see what he can do.
What's the balance like of playing with pace when you are?
Are you planning to try to get Quinten out there more often?
I'd like to. He changes the look out there. He can stand out there and make a three. He can pass. You saw how he battled Sabonis in there. It's a different look for us, and I'd like to give him some time here coming up.
These puzzle pieces are coming together, y'all. I mean, Steve Kerr also did say, I think maybe a couple weeks ago now, something about hey, look, sometimes the best course is to stay the course. And, we like the guys in our locker room, XYZ, whatever. But referring to a stretch big who can space the floor as a luxury and talking about, we've been meaning to get our second-round rookie in there, and, whether or not Looney is available or Kuminga is available, we've been meaning to do that. But this is the Warriors dynasty you're talking about and trying to keep it alive.
It's true.
You're going to trust that second-round rookie who, again, up until their last two games had played a combined 15 minutes.
We just learned his name.
Right, yes. Everybody probably was like, who's Quinton Post?
Who is Quinten Post?
Played at, I believe, Mississippi State and Boston College.
The guy we kept saying pick up our mail and gym bags to?
Yeah, 54th pick of the 2024 NBA draft class. And, no knock on him. But however, they're hey, wow, Steph Curry's talking about it, Steve Kerr's talking about it. Oh, nice to have a big guy who can also help us, counter some defensive stuff that we've been facing.
Look at that.
He's barely played, and he's 3 of 12 behind the arc.
And they're like, wow.
Is that your solution, Warriors, for the second half of the season? Because we've got a different one for you. But as most luxuries tend to be, it'll cost you.
It'll cost. Peace costs, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, I think that's the issue that they're facing, right? I think they would love to have Vooch, but are they willing to pay the price that AK is asking?
Is it a big price, though?
Or is AK going to come down? Or are they going to look somewhere else? Are they going to say, oh, Kelly Olynyk, you could, play those minutes instead?
Kelly Olynyk can't wash Vooch's drawers. Come on now.
I'm just saying, they don't have to. They're probably still, like we've talked about, going to go small a lot of times to end games, right? I'm not saying Vooch can't play, but that's just what historically they have done. And so are they willing to give up a first-round pick in order to get a guy who may or may not close for them? That is the thing they're facing right now. And maybe they can get a guy who's 80% of Vooch for half the cost. And I think that's kind of what they're weighing. I think they're also kind of weighing whether AK is bluffing and will they get him for the cost that they're more happy with. So, like I said, I think this is going to heat up last couple of days before the trade deadline. I don't know how much a Vooch mega performance tonight changes things for them. Probably not much, but I also think that it's hard to argue with what they're saying, which is that, you can look at a player and say, is this guy worth X dollars or X draft picks to go out and trade for in a vacuum? And that's a different thing from how much better does this guy make our best guys? Because the space that Vooch can provide, the playmaking, the post presence, the rebounding, all that stuff, I don't think that you can quantify that as easily in a vacuum when you're putting him next to Steph Curry or playing him against bench units with Dennis Schroeder. Like, he really does make players better.
Yeah.
We've said that the whole time, even when he wasn't shooting the ball well. And I think that's what makes Vooch good. They are also probably a little concerned about how real is the shooting right now. We're already seeing a decline from where he was earlier this season, but
it's real enough.
All of the concerns and the commentary is not to say that they wouldn't be interested. I think they are. It's more just at what price?
The price is winning. That's it for me. Do you want to win? And you can go get the knockoff guy if you want to, but there's a difference between Transformers and GoBots. Yeah, they both work. Yeah, they both come on, but one is going to break down because it's pure trash, and the other one is a transformer where you make billion-dollar movies off of. He just talked about how he likes Mike and Ike's. I'm sure there's another product out there probably called Jim and Jams. That's just as good. Yeah, it's delicious.
Honestly,
it's nice.
Good in plenties.
Yeah, good
Absolute
in plenties.
trash.
Yeah.
Absolute trash.
Absolute trash. Yes, you get the Mike and Ike's. Do you want to win? Do not operate like a team that just wants to make a deep playoff run. Operate like a team that wants to win a championship. If you want to win the championship, you go get Vooch. You don't get the knockoff Vooch. You go get the real, pure, untapped, organic Vooch. And he's right there for you. I think it's worth giving up a first-round pick for a guy that can actually help you make a deep, deep run in the playoffs, maybe into the finals, man. Because like we talked about, it's really up in the air as far as who's going to win this title. As long as you got Steph and you got Draymond, you put a third piece with that, you're ready to go. What's more formidable to you? Draymond, Vooch, and Steph, or Draymond, Vooch, and Giannis Valanciunas, or Kelly Olynyk? Who you think is more formidable? We know the answer to this. Go get the Transformer. Put down the GoBots and go get the Transformer. Get the Jordans. Don't get the Pro Wings. Don't get the Keds. Don't get the Jordache. Get the real thing, man. It's right there. It's worth it.
And I think that's where, like I said
the
before.
Timu Vooch, yes.
That's like where I said before, where it's like, I think making the move to get to the next move is oftentimes better than holding and hoarding assets until you can make that big swing, which may or may not come around.
Exactly.
Like with the Bulls, when they traded for Vooch in the first place, they wanted him to be like Jokic.
Yes.
And that is where you're getting the knockoff thing. Like Vooch is an incredible player, but he's not Jokic.
No.
So when you try to get him to be a Jokic, that's where the disconnect can sometimes be.
It won't
but
work.
If you get him to be Vooch, then you're cooking.
Yes.
And when you've got Steph already, now you're putting him in a good spot as opposed to what the Bulls did. So I think it's a different thing. It's obviously going to be a smaller cost for them if they do it. But yeah, I think the fit is just seamless. I would do it if I were the Warriors for sure.
Referring to this game of chicken that AK and the Warriors are playing, DeBears1920 in the comments said, LOL, if they think AK's bluffing, they should look at how many trades he's made at the deadline in the past 3 years. And our guy Fish saying AK's like trigger shy or empties the whole clip for guys. So bipolar.
That's true.
That is also
no
true.
in between. That is a fact.
So shifting focus to tonight's action, Vooch in that starting lineup for the Bulls, along with Patrick Williams, Zach LaVine, Josh Giddey, and with Kobe White still out, more on that in a second, Lonzo Ball gets another start over Ayo Dosunmu, who is back from his mini break with that calf he's been dealing with, and active, but will come off the bench tonight.
Okay.
And meanwhile, for the Warriors, Steph was questionable, dealing with a knee. He gets the green light and will start, along with Buddy Hield, Gary Payton II, who's playing through an illness, Andrew Wiggins, and Trace Jackson-Davis, as I mentioned, that banged up Warriors front court right now. Draymond out, Kyle Anderson out, as well as Kuminga. But as I mentioned, Kobe White, so he will sit tonight. This update came from Casey Johnson, the one and only, a little while ago. White has a bone bruise in his ankle.
Oh.
Billy Donovan, quote, could be a week, could be longer.
It'll be longer.
White suffered the injury playing the Blazers this past Sunday. So a couple days from now, that'll be 1 week.
Bone bruises, man.
Could be bone bruises. You never like to hear that.
No. They take a while. Man. So, yeah.
And they're in no rush to get him back.
That part right there.
Ding, ding, ding,
100% Kobe White is what we're after. Not 99.
Rest.
100.
Up. Kobe.
Chill out, sir. Sit on down. Play some Uno.
So as far as what the Bulls are facing tonight, never easy to get a dub in the Bay.
Against the Dubs.
But these are not your grandpa's Warriors, as they might say. They have just the 21st ranked offense in the NBA at 111.8. Like, that is just the bottom of mid. They are playing some respectable defense so far this season, however. 112.3 defensive rating. Net rating of negative 0.5. Just, classic Bulls area of just not quite mid. That's what the Warriors have been doing. They're middle of the pack in pace. They still are nearly top 5 in three-point attempt rate. They're currently at 6th, but they're only middle of the pack in converting on those threes this season, 36.4%. And their true shooting percentage, 55.4, 24th in the NBA. These are not the champion Warriors.
That is not. And honestly, you can see it in their body language. They're not comfortable with this at all. Like, being a team that's floating, like right there mid, they're not comfortable with it at all, man.
And yet this is where they've been for the last couple of years, and it's why these trade conversations are coming up. It's also why they were aggressive getting Dennis Schroeder early on in trade season. And so, I think they, like a lot of other teams in similar positions, the Lakers being one who there have been some rumors about, maybe we'll talk about in postgame. But yeah, I just think that they have to be aggressive within reason.
And I think aggressive.
Vooch is like the perfect target for that. Aggressive within reason.
Mike and Ike's.
So, I mean, obviously, so much of what they do still goes through Steph Curry. But with some of these new pieces, with some of these role players being asked to step up, aside from Steph obviously being X factor number one, what do you see as, like, if the Bulls can get some work done on the defensive end, where do they need to focus that?
Yeah, I mean, their backcourt, obviously, with the shooting and Buddy Hield is a big one. No Draymond for them tonight.
Right.
He's been out, as we mentioned. So that kind of changes some of what they do in terms of, like, the split cuts and just the half-court stuff. He's kind of like their point forward in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I think they, being a low three-point volume team, which is crazy to consider, I think that can help the Bulls. But just the way Steph plays, he bends the defense so much, and I think that you're just going to see a lot of attention towards him, and we'll see how much that opens up. I mean, for all of the praise that we've been giving Vooch on this show, and deservedly so, the Bulls do not have a strong backline defense. And I think that's probably a concern of the Warriors. But if they can force the Bulls to really press up to defend the three-point line, that will open up the back cuts and the driving lanes for them to really put pressure on the rim, and I think that's where the Bulls have struggled this year.
He's right. Vooch.
Steph this season currently averaging 22.6 points per game. Zach LaVine is a touch better than that. Steph shooting 45 from the field, 40.7 from three on 10.6 attempts per game. Leads the league at 94% from the free throw line, but he's not getting to the free throw line a whole lot.
Right.
6.3 dimes per game for Steph as well. But this 22.6 is his lowest points per game total since the 21-22 season, when he averaged 25 and a half. So this is, it's still Steph Curry. We have still seen him have nights very recently where he goes off. Were they playing in the Garden and he had a big game recently?
When they lost Minnesota.
Minnesota?
Yeah, Minnesota was the big one.
That was our last win.
Yeah. So he does not exactly have the same running mates as the Warriors championship teams of the past, but still will be – the Bulls will need to be playing on the better side of what we've seen them be capable of playing to get a win tonight.
Well, they've got to show up. Like, we've seen them against the Blazers, against the Hornets, just not show up.
Right.
And I think when they're, like, mentally there, they're able to beat teams, but sometimes they're just not for whatever reason. And I think
they're not tapped in.
Yeah, I think the trade stuff has weighed on them collectively, and I wonder how Vooch will come out tonight, understanding all the trade rumors, which he is clearly aware of.
On that note, I did see a write-up from our guy Joe Cowley for the Sun-Times late this afternoon after he got a chance to chat with Vooch out west. And he asked Vooch, like, hey, AK's on this road trip with you guys. There's an open-door policy for the players. Have you gone in or been tempted to go in to speak to AK and say, hey, man, like, what's up? That was the question posed to Vooch, and with some quotes in Cowley's write-up, Vooch's answer was, nah, man, Like, I'll let my agent handle that. He said, I've been in the league long enough now, like almost a decade and a half, to know that there's always this kind of talk. Yeah. And I think he said something like 9 times out of 10, or almost always, the talk about what might happen doesn't happen.
Yeah.
So, why drive yourself crazy thinking about it?
That's right. Don't focus on that, Vooch. Focus on what's going on the floor. Get out there and dominate like we know that you can, sir. Like the fringe all-star that you are. That's what we want to see tonight is Vooch. Show it to him, Vooch. Give him the ball, man. All the shots, all the points inside. Nikola Vucevic, man. Come get this goon to the night belt, sir.
What, you think Trace Jackson Davis is going to stop him?
You ain't going to stop him. Quinten Post? Are you kidding me?
Let's hope Vooch
it ain't happening, sir.
Out. And let's hope for Katie's sake that y'all hit the like button before you head out of here.
Oh, my gosh. She's going to lose it on y'all.
We have crossed 9 p.m. Central Time. Tip-off right around the corner as the Bulls round out their 3-game trip out west. Thank you, everybody, for hanging out late with us. For those of you sickos who make it through this whole game and aren't ready for bed yet, we will be here for live post-game after the conclusion of Bulls-Warriors. We will see you, brave souls, then. In the meantime, let's all go watch Vooch drop 50. Hit the like. Subscribe. See you, Rep. Good.
Flip side, I saw your Far Side reference, dude. Shout out to you.
Flip side.
Peace.
We all silly like the mayor.